Well, this video has been a long time in the making, almost 4 years since we first finished the Money Pit garage, and I've been promising a walkthrough, and today that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the how. I've got a bunch of videos on how I built this garage, but this is pretty much a DIY. Everything except for the concrete, the drywall, and the insulation, I did everything else myself. So all the framing, all the siding, all the roofing, everything else that you're going to see inside, including the planning. So what I want to walk you through is a bunch of things that I did right, several things that I did wrong. That way, if you're going to do a garage like this, you can not make the same mistakes I did. So come on in and we'll take a look. All right, so probably the first thing that I did right when I was planning this garage was building a mezzanine. So having the mezzanine gave me an extra 400 square feet. I have storage underneath, and then I knew that it was just going to increase the footprint of the availability I had. Obviously, I'm built on a slope. As you can see in here, the garage drops off. So this garage was built on a very steep slope, and it made sense to have a walk-in level on the mezzanine. The original plan was to actually have a drive-in and have an engineered slab, but then COVID hit and I could no longer afford the materials. So anyhow, one of the things I did right was planning for what I wanted up here. I have engineered trusses that support all the gym equipment, all the safes that are here behind my son, and I knew I was going to have a lot of weight up here, and it was important to make sure it wasn't bouncy and was structurally sound. So that was the one thing I did right. Second thing I did right, planning my windows up here. My windows were exactly where I wanted. I knew I'd have saves. I knew I'd have a workspace. I wanted natural light coming in, and I'd have some shelves. And then on this side, I wanted, lighting and the ability to see in and out when I'm here, which now I have an office, if you would, but I wasn't planning on that, planning on a gym. The main thing I didn't want people to be able to see was to peek in from the windows and see the saves and stuff like that here on the side. Yeah, I know I'm making a video about what I've got in my garage, but for somebody that's rolling up here, they can't actually see what's inside. What I did wrong on the backside back here, I definitely should have put these windows up higher. In hindsight, I should have just left a couple of the sliders on the sides, but I should have moved these windows way up high so that I had additional wall space, because essentially I've lost a lot of wall space with each of those windows. Now, I do like that I have the ability to have a ventilation. I've got an exhaust fan here for when I'm doing grinding or painting and I want to get fumes out. But what I did wrong was certainly place those windows too low. So when you build your garage, make sure you put them up as high as you can, maximize your wall space. All right, one of the other things I did right, which seems, unimportant at the time, but is the paint color that I used. So just use a bright paint color. I see a lot of folks with these new garages with hexagon lights and they got black ceilings. I needed as much light as I could. I didn't want pure white because it would just show any amount of dirt that would be here. So this is all the same color gray on the ceiling and on the walls. The lower walls are slightly darker because I just wanted to hide a little more dirt, but flat on the ceiling, eggshell on the walls, the exact same color, super easy to make touch-ups. It's bright, it's not white, so it doesn't show hardly any dirt. All right, the other thing is the mezzanine stair placement. So I debated on where I should put the stairs, if I should run them out, run them down. The way I did the stairs here, it basically minimizes the footprint and maximizes my lower floor space. So that was important, knowing that I would have a lift down below, at least 1 or 2 cars parked in here. Minimizing the space that your stairs take up is something that you really need to take account for, and that's something I did right. So besides the roof design, making sure that you have high enough ceilings for your lift and that sort of thing, lighting was really important. So I ended up using these UFO lights. That way, if I did determine they weren't bright enough, I could come in and replace them. I could replace them individually or as a whole set. They're high efficiency and they're very bright. Having zone lighting is very important because I can have the mezzanine lights on and everything else off, and I'm not just killing my electric bill. The one thing I did wrong, and as we come down here, is I initially didn't have these lights up above me, and I got a video on when I put those in, but this is where I found myself working all the time, and I had a dead zone under the beam and under the overhang of the mezzanine. So initially was done wrong. I had to add those lights after the fact. And if I had done it ahead of time, it would probably look cleaner, much just sleeker design. The other thing I did wrong was the floor drainage. Very happy with how the slab turned out overall, but I didn't account for any drains. I was afraid the county was going to be rough on my approvals if I tried to put some drains in there, and I ended up just not doing it. In hindsight, it would have been worth the trouble to have 1 or 2 drains under each area where the cars are, because whenever there's snow or rain, this floor is sealed so the water does not evaporate. It takes forever. I'll have puddles of water sitting here for quite a long time unless I squeegee them out. So that's one of the things I definitely did wrong. Consider floor drains. All right, so one of the other things I did wrong, well, kind of wrong, I just didn't have the money to do it. I didn't have money to put full plumbing in here. In hindsight, I wish I had plumbed this for a half bath. You know, I had no idea I'd ever have office space here. I never thought that COVID would drive us to have the ability to work from home. So didn't really plan for that. I wish I had plumbing in here, but again, it was really cost prohibitive at the time. So all I have is some temporary, not even temporary, I do have some water lines roughed in here. So in the event I ever do want to bring water in, I have a drain and I have water roughed in, but I don't have full plumbing. So that is something I did wrong. Something else I did right, the high lift doors and the Jackshaft opener. I think that's a must if you're going to have a garage like this. Certainly if you're going to have a lift, you need to maximize the ceiling height. I wanted to be able to bring in either like a tall boat, even a toy hauler, something like that. So having the high lift doors and the Jackshaft opener is certainly something that you need to consider, and I would recommend doing in your garage. All right, so one of the things I absolutely did right was the heating and AC. Now, I had a friend of ours come in and help me determine which size ducts, what size air handler, what size external unit, and all those sorts of things. So it is very efficient. Coupled with the extra insulation that I put in, I guess tack that up to the other things I did right. But I was able to tuck my air handler all down here. All the ductwork runs underneath, just behind the main beam, and then runs out the front of the mezzanine. So I've got vents underneath, and I've got vents out front, and of course there are vents up on the top floor like you'd have in your house. So it does not take very long at all to heat and cool this. I normally keep the thermostat around, I don't know, 50 to 55 in the winter, and I keep it around 80 in the summer, and my electric bill for this entire space is only about, you know, 75 bucks, you know, running the AC throughout the summer. So make sure you have a right-sized air handler if you're gonna have central air. So that's something else I did right. Another thing I did right is I got power everywhere. I put outlets, I think every 4 or 5 feet where I could, but I've got outlets all over, up high. I knew that way I could, no matter what or where I was putting my workbenches, I would have power all along. So the power outlets extend, you can't see them, but they're even back here behind all that shelving all the way around. The one mistake I did make with the power is I did not run them to these posts. I didn't run them to this post. Now this one has a 30 amp rough in on one side and a 50 amp on the other. So it's future-proofed. I do not have any EVs, but I do plan on getting one at some point, and the next person that buys this place is probably going to have an EV. So I have it wired up and prepared for welders, for a lift, for anything you can pretty much think about putting in here, RV hookups. So I've got 30 amp hookup over here, 50 up here. I've got a 50 amp upstairs on the outside so that you can charge an EV on the outside as well. So another thing I did right was put in enough power to power anything I possibly wanted, either now or in the future. All right, another thing that I did right was my slab thickness. So I have a thickened slab. I also have fiberglass reinforcement. The part I'm standing on now is actually an engineered portion. Everything else was at grade. But the one thing I did right is I actually had planned for a 2-post lift. Once I started building this thing, I realized that it shrunk. It seemed huge when I was first putting up the bare joist, and I was looking in here and I was telling my dad, like, what have I done? Like, this is just going to be so much work. But once it started closing in with drywall, I realized the 2-post lift was just going to consume too much of my space. However, I did put pockets in here of deep 12-inch footers, just 12-inch thickened slab where I wanted to initially put my 2-post lift. So this particular lift, I think only required 4-inch thickness, but this is between, I think, 4 or 5 inches, and it's got fiberglass reinforcement. So make sure you have your slab thickness appropriate for whatever you putting in here, whether it's a 2-post or 4-post lift, or no lift at all. Another thing I got right is the beam height. So when you do all your planning, you got to make sure that you're accounting for the thickness of the material. These were 14-inch LVL. So this is a triple 14-inch LVL that spans the whole length. And when I initially planned it, I actually had the height lowered because I was trying to get my overall, roof height, ceiling height down a little bit. But then I realized that the thickness of the LVL had to be accounted for. So make sure that when you're planning, you account for the thickness of your beams so that you don't have any issues. Now, if you got a 6'6" dude or a 7-foot basketball player, you're gonna have to duck in my garage. But luckily I'm not that tall and I don't have to worry about it. So one thing I did right was get my beams there. Okay, we're getting close to the last couple of things, and one of them that I really wish I had done or could have done was have a man door. The only way to get in and out is through this big ass door. So this is a 12 by 16. It is insulated. Another thing I did right, but it is very inefficient every time you open a door this size. So if you had the ability, I did not. My retaining wall on the outside is about right here. So all of that is subterranean. Everything back here is all underground. The driveway and everything is all backfilled right up against it. So I didn't have the ability or space. I'd have to had sacrificed the size of the door, and I really needed this big door because obviously I have 2 cars parked in here most times. That way I can back them both out the same door. But that is something I did wrong. I should have put a man door in just for efficiency's sake. Then the number one thing I did wrong in this garage is I didn't build it big enough. And yeah, I know everybody says, build it bigger. You never build it big enough. You'll never have enough garage space. True. However, if I had just made this thing 5 or 10 feet deeper, I would have no problem parking 2 cars bumper to bumper. Right now, I park my truck in here. There's no room to park a car behind it. If I had this car and maybe my Jeep, they can fit and it is snug. You can just barely slide between them. But then my truck is over here and I can't back out. It's always musical cars. So if there's anything I would say, if you plan on having multiple cars parked end to end, 40 feet is not big enough. So look at something 50 feet. My number one regret would have been building this just 10 feet deeper. I would have kept basically the same layout, the whole thing, but it would have allowed me to have more cars in here, more cars packed in here at once. So that goes to the last thing, I guess, is what I did right. I planned it myself. The having the plans. So planning the garage build yourself was absolutely the best thing I did right. And not everybody's going to have the skills, time, or knowledge to build your own garage, but you can imagine it. So being able to plan and think of my layout, and I have a video on this where I just use PowerPoint and kind of move my shapes around. It gave me an idea on how much space it was going to take to do this whole thing. But I also made a lot of changes during that process. So as I imagined what I wanted in here, what I was going to be using it for, I was able to make those tweaks and design it around, my purposes. So if I could say there's one thing you should do, be involved in that planning process. A garage in a box just isn't going to work for everybody. It could work for you, but you're going to be much happier in the end if you plan it yourself. So those are the things that I think I did right, and I know I did wrong. And hopefully you can learn from some of them and apply them to your project if you're about to build a garage. Again, I can't be more grateful for the folks that follow the channel and have asked me all the questions along the way. So I really enjoy showing off the money pit. As you look around, you can see it's how it's earned its name. But really proud of the garage, what it's turned into, and how I get to use it. So thanks for following. I'll see you on the next video.